Hi, my name's Catherine from Crime Psych, and in today's video I'm going to give you an overview of investigative psychology. Investigative psychology is a form of criminal psychology that takes what we know about people and the way that people interact and behave and their personalities and memory and every aspect of psychology and applies that to policing and other investigations. Now, when people hear the term criminal psychology, they often think of offender profiling. Now, the term offender profiling was brought about by the FBI. In the late 70s and early 80s, the FBI set up their behavioural science unit at Quantico, and they set out to interview violent serial offenders and came up with the first classification system that would examine parts of a crime scene and link that to some offender characteristics. So the FBI interviewed violent serial offenders who they had incarcerated, as well as using other detectives' knowledge and experience in that field. And they came up with a classification system that suggested that these criminals would behave in an organised or a disorganised way. And so they suggested that when somebody carried out an organised crime, it would be pre-planned, it would be a targeted attack, and no evidence would be left there. And they linked those types of behaviours to some characteristics of the offenders. And in a similar way with the disorganised, they said that a disorganised crime would be a spontaneous attack, so no weapons would be taken there, care wouldn't be taken to remove any evidence after the scene, and they also linked that to a set of offender characteristics. Now, that early work within the FBI has been criticised for not being very scientific, not being rigorously tested, because when other researchers came to investigate that work, they found that they couldn't reliably classify violent crime scenes as exclusively organised or exclusively disorganised. And so that theory was then modified to include a mixed category. Now, although that work has been criticised, it's been really important in paving the way to understanding that we can link certain actions to certain characteristics of the offender, and it's led scientific researchers to conduct research in many different areas, looking at all different types of offenders and offences. The term investigative psychology was coined by Professor David Canter in 1990. And that grew out of the recognition that there were several grounded theories within psychology which could be of use to police and other investigations. And Professor Canter worked with a Detective Constable Rupert Heritage, as well as a major UK police force, to help to catch an offender, a rapist at the time, who we now know is the railway rapist. And so the early work of investigative psychology was formed on these sexual attacks. Now, that has grown as a discipline, and investigative psychology is now applied to all areas of policing, all areas of law enforcement. It can be used in various ways, such as interviewing techniques, improving interviewing techniques. So the ways in which police interview eyewitnesses, there are certain techniques which can draw out more information, which can improve memory. There are also some interview techniques which can improve the ways in which we detect deception and gather more information about the case. And by doing that, it helps the police become much more efficient. Part of investigative psychology is to produce offender profiles and link offender characteristics to crime scene actions, but that's not exclusively what the discipline is about. It uses a framework to integrate aspects of psychology into policing and investigations. As I say, it's applied to all areas of the judicial system. So we can use principles of psychology to understand more about jury selection, about the biases which people hold, and of course rehabilitation programs to improve the efficiency of offender rehabilitation programs. So it seeks to advance our psychological understanding of offending and of crime and in ways in which the police operate. over this series of videos, I'm going to be looking at various aspects of investigative psychology. And so if that's the type of video that you're going to be interested in, then you can subscribe. You can go over to the website and have a read of some of the blogs that we've got there. You can sign up to the mailing list to be added to be notified of newsletters and blogs and vlogs. And I really hope you've enjoyed this short introduction to investigative psychology, and I hope to see you again soon on our journey together. Thanks for watching. Bye.